Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. It currently has over 17 million views. It's generating a lot of activity. It's about the failure of conventional cancer treatments, and it's great that this is happening as more people kind of get a better perspective on what's going on here. Perhaps we can actually change things. It's been interesting to me, however, to look at some of the comments that people have posted about this video, and it made me pause. And I think it's, time for me to address this and talk a little bit about it. A lot of people are saying, oh, Dr. Glidden's not a real doctor. He's a naturopathic doctor, and, it's all pseudoscience and it's nonsense. This is a lie. Naturopathic medicine is a fully licensed and regulated system of medicine here in the United States and Canada. To become a naturopathic physician in the United States, you have to do 4 years pre-med, 4 years naturopathic medical school, 900 to 1,000 hours of clinical supervision, pass national boards, pass state boards, and pursue continuing education credit. It is a full-blown primary care medical degree, period. That's academic. It's not debatable. Now, you might not like it, but the fact of the matter is that naturopathic medicine is a licensed and regulated medical profession. Naturopathic physicians provide primary medical care all around the world. Now, there are two types of people who are calling themselves naturopathic doctors in the world today. People like myself who have done conventional education, gotten their degrees, gotten licensed, played by the rules, and people who do online courses, mail order courses in naturopathic, holistic therapeutics. These two camps in naturopathic medicine are often diametrically opposed. I'm not going to get into those politics. I'm a supporter, quite frankly, of both of these camps. But the fact of the matter is that it is an academic fact that I am a licensed, regulated physician, period, number one. Number two, some people are saying Dr. Glidden is taking advantage of people recommending unproven cancer treatments. This also is a lie. It's a very small percentage of patients that I actually treat in the context of a private medical consultation that have cancer. And whenever I do treat a patient that has been diagnosed with cancer, I'm very upfront about the effectiveness or the lack thereof of the therapeutics that I am recommending. And I'm also very upfront about the effectiveness or the lack thereof of conventional medical treatments. So let's just take the Zen sword to all of this nonsense. Naturopathic medicine prides itself on the marriage between science and holistic medicine. And this is a very important distinction. Everything that we do in naturopathic land is science-based, clinically verified. Science-based, clinically verified. This is what defines the professional practice of naturopathic medicine. Science-based, clinically verified, licensed and regulated. That's it. It's good enough for the United States Department of Education. It's good enough for Blue Cross and Blue Shield in a number of states here in the United States. It should be good enough for you. And if you think that naturopathic physicians are not real doctors, well, you have your head somewhere embedded into a part of your anatomy. And I think you should visit a proctologist to get some assistance. Now, irony of ironies, interestingly enough, this is the situation that we are up against here in the not-so-free 21st century. We do not have a free medical market. We haven't had a free medical market here in the United States since the Flexner Report of the early 1900s. Since that time, medicine has been monopolized by the pharmaceutical industry and the MDs. And pharmaceutical medicine is fine for certain things. Thank God for Novocaine. Thank God for a handful of antibiotics, morphine, Advil, right? These things are good and have their place. But pharmaceuticals are like drugs. Are like guns. It's not the gun, it's how it's used. It's not the drug, it's how it's used. Interestingly enough, the way that medical doctors use drugs, they are the leading cause of death and the leading cause of bankruptcy here in the United States. Conventional MD-directed medicine does not work for the majority of illnesses that people go to see the doctor for. They don't work. If you have a broken arm or a bullet in your leg, go to see the medical doctor. But if you're suffering with a chronic disease, the last person you want to see is anybody with an MD after their name, because they are trained in a medical philosophy, a system of medicine which does not attempt to cure your condition. Allopathic reductionism is the type of medicine that the MD is trained in, and allopathic reductionism argues that your body is a bag of biochemicals waiting to break, and when it does break, it's not the physician's job to cure it, it's the physician's job to manage it, and so this is what happens. Now, interestingly enough, there's a phenomenon that happens a lot in conventional MD circles. It's called off-label prescribing. So a medical doctor will prescribe, for instance, a high blood pressure medication in order to help someone go to sleep. Or they'll prescribe an arthritis medication for someone with asthma, right? It's called off-label prescribing. They're using a patent medicine, prescribing a patent medicine for a patient for a condition that medicine has not been approved for the treatment of. But it's the doctor's discretion. It's called the practice of medicine. It's not very scientific, is it? It's not based on research. It's not based on double-blinded, gold standard clinical trials. It's based on the doctor's whims and or clinical experience. And apparently, the opponents of holistic medicine who are trumpeting the false notion that what we do is not scientific, it's all pseudoscience and made-up mumbo-jumbo, which it's not, that's a lie. But they're apparently okay with medical doctors doing off-label prescribing. It's complete, utter, total hypocrisy based upon an abject lack of education, lack of intellectual understanding for what really is going on here in the practical application of medicine, whether it's conventional MD medicine or anything else. My people are destroyed by lack of knowledge. I would gainsay that this video that I produced 3-4 years ago is getting so much traction now because we tell the truth. So I want you just to think about it like this. You don't even need to look at the research, for goodness sakes. All that you need to do is have a little bit of common sense. How many people do you know that have undergone chemotherapy for cancer? And how many of those people have died from cancer? And understand that the trend is a 5-year survivalship. So if you know somebody now that's undergone chemotherapy, you cannot academically judge the effectiveness of that treatment until after 5 years. This is the standard that the American Cancer Society promotes. This is the standard that, we should all adhere to. So again, I posit the question, how many people do you know that have undergone chemotherapy? And how many of them have died from cancer? And if they're inside of the 5-year mark, fingers crossed. You are welcome to your own opinions, ladies and gentlemen, but you most certainly are not welcome to your own set of facts. We're not opposed to MD-directed medicine across the board. MD-directed, allopathic, reductionistic, pharmaceutical-centrist, monopolistic, Machiavellian medicine has its place. Again, thank God for Novocaine. Thank God for the sterile technique, the mattress suture, and Advil. But that's about it. The problem that we have here is that all that you are aware of is MD-directed medicine. The only medicine that your insurance pays for is MD-directed medicine. Obamacare has forced you into, in the United States, gaining access to MD-directed medicine. Your medical insurance doesn't pay for naturopathic medicine, chiropractic medicine, homeopathic medicine, Ayurvedic medicine, traditional Chinese medicine or acupuncture, herbalism, medical nutrition. Naturopathic medicine doesn't pay for it. It pays for drugs and surgery, drugs and surgery, drugs and surgery, chemo, radiation, right? That's what it pays for. We don't have a free medical market. And this is the reason that everybody is sick. Because when you go to the MD and their treatments fail you, when you go to the MD and their treatments harm you, when you go to the MD and their treatments bankrupt you, or when you go to the MD and their treatments kill you or your family members, what do you do? Well, if you're dead, there's nothing that you can do, but your relatives will continue to go back to the MD, even though they have failed you. This only happens because of the monopoly. A free medical market would take care of all of this in a heartbeat. I wrote about this in my book. By the way, if you are a cancer patient, or you know anybody who is diagnosed with cancer, you need to get a copy of my book and read the 10 questions. There are 10 questions in my chapter on cancer in my book, The MD Emperor Has No Clothes. 10 questions in that chapter which every cancer patient needs to ask their oncologist with good intentions, open heart, open mind, in the presence of a witness and a recording device. I am of the opinion that if every cancer patient asked their oncologist these 10 questions, and the oncologist answered those questions honestly, that the vast majority of people who did that would refuse conventional cancer treatment. We don't engage in conventional cancer treatment. You are bullied, scared, prodded into conventional cancer treatment. So for goodness sakes, I'm not saying that there are cures to cancer that nobody knows about. Cancer is a very difficult thing to treat. In my clinical experience, it's very difficult to treat. I have colleagues that are very successful at it, and we're interviewing them, bringing their knowledge, their experience to the foreground here for your edification. But it's a very difficult thing to treat as far as I'm concerned. I'm not saying that holistic doctors have the answer to cancer. If they do, I'm not aware of it. What I'm saying is conventional medical treatment for cancer does not work. Period. The only reason that people continue to go to enjoin a medical therapeutic that doesn't work is because they don't know any better and they're afraid of their doctor. They're bullied by their doctor. So, get a copy of my book. For goodness sakes, it's $9.99 on, Kindle, right? You want the softback? It's $20. 10 questions every cancer patient needs to ask their oncologist. Honestly, open-mindedly, objectively, in just an honest discussion between you and your doctor. Do that, and maybe together we can collectively change the direction of ineffective, outrageously expensive, Machiavellian, monopolistic cancer treatment, not only here in the United States, but in the world at large. I am your steadfast advocate for health, Dr. Peter Glidden. Live long and prosper.